Hi. Yes. Buhaghag mo. Hi.
Good
Sorry.
morning.
Monster RX93.1, time for our Facebook Live!
Facebook Live. Yes, we're on facebook.com/RX931. And in just a little while, we'll be joined by our very special guest
Yes.
today. But first, hey, Team Bahay, what's up?
Just using my grinder.
What grinder? Coffee grinder.
Yeah.
I also have one, Marky. Don't worry. You know
I
what,
need
Marky?
a
Maybe
one.
we can grind together.
Ay, ay,
One of
Ako,
these days.
dumping
That
grind.
escalated quickly.
No, I need one
Yeah.
for my salt and pepper.
Okay.
I actually bought one
Yeah.
a couple
See,
of
what
months
we
ago.
just got
Nasira
one.
ko na siya. I don't know why. Do I do this violently na
Yeah.
nawasak siya?
maybe?
Yeah, nasira ko siya both ends. Kasi double-ended eh.
Yeah.
Team Booth, can I just ask? We can't hear you through your microphone. Also, we have an echo. Do you have an echo, Marky?
No, we don't.
I have an echo.
Oh,
Yeah.
That's
Weird.
weird because there's a little bit of an echo, but not really.
Okay. I think, okay. It was just maybe just for a few seconds.
Is it
Okay.
still there? Can you hear us?
Is
No
it still
more.
there?
Ah, okay. There.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright.
Okay, that's good.
Anyway, yeah. So we were saying grinder,
Yeah.
double-ended. Sabi ko,
Pero
Yeah.
yung tawag naman sa, di ba peppermill tawag dun?
Peppermint.
peppermill. Yeah.
Is this a pepper mill?
No, that's a grinder.
No. Isn't the app the pepper mill?
Peppermint.
May app na pepper. Ay na naman tayo.
Peppermint.
Oh, damay
That's
na.
peppermill.
Have some salt and paper.
The paper mill.
Mukhang isusulat niya yung the rest of the...
Sapat pepper.
Sapat pepper.
Eh, parang yung aso ni Rika, si Paper.
I can't.
Hey,
Paper the
paper.
dinosaur.
Si
I
Paper.
wanna
I haven't heard from Paper in a while.
Oo nga.
We
I
haven't
miss
heard.
paper.
Yeah. Sa baba siya eh.
Ano sa baba siya?
How's paper doing?
Paper is fine.
Kaya pa?
Pag ako talaga na paper, pero you know what? As long as it's my voice, wala siyang pumupunta pa din siya. Kasi before, tinatawag ko siyang, pangit! Tapos lalapit siya sa akin. So it doesn't matter what you say. As long as, I guess, gusto niya yung voice mo, he'll go to you.
Yeah, that's true. Di ba sabi nila it's the tone more than anything?
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Yeah. Eh, paano yan? Ikaw, your tone is always pa-baby, diba?
No, my tone is always pitch perfect.
No!
Ano mo, kanina pa to?
Kanina
Kanina pa to.
pa.
Sabi niya kanina kamukha niya si Kim Chu.
Uy, ano ka ba?
Basta maging kamukha si Kim Chu. Para ba Para yung partner mo?
May date tayo bukas. Walang yaka, mamaya.
Anyway, you know what? Let's not hold it up a little, any longer because
Yes.
we already have our special guest waiting in the wings.
Oh, Marky.
Yes.
Yeah.
Our special guest is here today. One of the top fashion designers of the Philippines and a good friend of mine. Let us welcome RAJO LAUREL.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Good
RAJO.
morning. How are you
Thank you
guys?
so much for joining us today.
Of course.
Oh, it's great to have you.
I'm glad to be here.
How are
have
you?
been? How's the whole pandemic been for you?
It's like a Corona roller coaster ride. Some days are good, some days are not so good. But I'm back in the city now, but most of the time I'm in Batangas. So, we're pretty much living there now because of the situation in the city. So we're pretty lucky because we're thriving. In other words,
That's good.
Oh,
I'm
that's
now
nice.
a farmer.
Yeah,
I
I've been
disappeared.
reading some of your posts. You you have like your bukid hashtags.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know, it's yeah, it just got fast forwarded, so to speak. I didn't think I'd be doing this now. I thought I'd be doing this in my 70s, but hey, there's no, start early, I guess. That's what they say.
so was this something that was really in the pipeline for you? This was something that even during COVID, you were really wanted to do something like this. That in the future, you would be, in the farm, raising,
Yeah.
planting,
Well,
looking at.
yeah, I mean, I've been dreaming about the house for the last maybe 15 years. And, originally it was just supposed to be a place to go to the weekends and just sort of like recharge and come back. And then feel that you're good again. But what happened was we got stuck there because I'm there always every weekend. And when they decided to do the lockdown, ayun, nandun na ako. So, tinuloy-tuloy ko na. And we were actually the longest time we were there for 100 days straight.
Oh,
Wow.
wow.
Yeah,
You know,
it was cool, but we all a lot of adjustments because we didn't really have Wi-Fi, and we only had our phones. I didn't have my computer, so it was a struggle. But at the same time, it was also a lot of learning, good learnings. Like I realized this thing that I've thought about. It's called the power of the pause. So when everything slows down, you actually get to think more. In many ways, it's sort of like really beneficial, primarily because I've always wanted to take a sabbatical. I didn't know when. So I guess this is it. This is my sabbatical.
I was
Are
a
you
perfect sabbatical.
a meditation person? Do you like meditation?
Absolutely. I meditate every day in the morning. And then that's actually before I write my good morning Instagram thing. So
Oh yeah,
I
Raho has
meditate.
these beautiful posts every day. They actually have been uplifting a lot of my low moods. Whenever I open my Instagram and I see Raho's quotes, I always just feel so much more enlightened and happier with life. So thank you for doing that for
No,
everyone.
no, thank you for noticing. Actually, it began many years ago when I had a bout of anxiety, and my therapist said, why don't you write it down, your thoughts, and maybe, and I said, okay. And then it was just Twitter then. I started on Twitter, my good morning, then became a habit that instead of sort of like, I say it to myself in the mirror, and then I just write it down or I read it. But nahihirapan na ako kasi naubusan na ako ng code. So your listeners can send me some.
Yes.
Do you find it easier to meditate now or more challenging, considering, what's going on?
It's really, there's no parang, every day is different. Some days are easier, some days are harder. It really depends on kung ano yung gising mo. So like today I was very excited because I wanted to see you guys. So I guess my meditation was a little bit rushed because I said I'd never been on this particular platform, the one that Marky sent me. I'm usually used to other things, so I was a little bit anxious. How will I do it? I'm not a very high tech person, so I was thinking about, is it just radio? Do I wash my face? Can I sort of like,
You
you
can
know?
wear something nice on top and then just shorts down there.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
Right?
diba? So
Or you
it's,
could do what I do and just wear this and underwear. It's
Oh,
like
yeah.
completely
well,
fine.
well, Marky, you're Marky, so you can actually don't wear anything na lang.
Our listeners are trying to convince him to just go topless every single day.
Impossible. Hello.
Darling, that's so easy. You don't need to convince me.
Actually, it doesn't take much.
Yeah.
He does it willingly.
No wonder our trainer Culver has no time for everyone else. It's just Marky.
But you also train with the same
With Culver. Oh,
trainer
you
as
train with
Marky.
Culver as well?
Yeah, I train with Culver, but I don't post it because baka mawalan siya ng kliyente. You know?
Oh my goodness. So when do you usually work out? Like, how's your day? How do you usually start?
I'm a very, I really wake up early. only because in the probinsya, by 9 o'clock wala na nangyayari. So I'm in bed by 9. I'm usually up by 5. I'm a big sunset and sunrise person. So that's sort of like my highlight. If I can catch the sunrise and catch the sunset, I call it a really good day.
Oh,
So
that's so
basically,
nice.
if I'm up by 5:30, I kind of sort of like meditate when the sun rises. Because we're lucky the property that we got faces both sunset and sunrise. So we're able to really just enjoy both. And then after that, I garden, I read, and then I cook. My partner and I are avid home cooks. And we live in an area
Uh,
that's pretty cool because we have farms near us. So we just go to the farmers and see what they have. And then there's fishermen just next door. So tinitingnan namin bago sila pumunta ng palengke kung ano yung huli, and then we get it. It's pretty ideal if you think about it.
Cool. Like back to the basics, no?
I know, right?
Ang ganda.
I
Yeah,
think that
pretty
sounds
much.
such an idyllic,
Right?
setup.
Mm-mm.
Yeah,
You know,
I,
like
Parang I wouldn't mind living in a
oh,
farm.
parang na-relax na ako just listening to.
I know. We're just gonna live vicariously through Rao.
Yeah, through you.
yeah,
I have
it's it,
a
it, it,
question
it,
for go ahead.
yeah, go ahead.
No, because you know how like on the radio industry is also pretty much hard hit, about the COVID situation. And it's everyone's just on a learning curve right now. So for you guys in fashion, like how is it in terms of your industry? Like, how are you trying to cope? Are you really hard hit? How are you trying to roll with the punches? Because we're kind of scrambling here as a radio industry to try to survive this. So, what about you guys?
We're pretty much in the same situation, to be honest. Essentially, I mean, like most of the designers in the Philippines are geared towards events. But because there's no more weddings, there's no more um, events to go to, we're basically on a standstill. So a great number of my colleagues are doing the same thing that we're doing. We're figuring things out by doing things such as protective garments, masks, and whatnot. So we're very lucky again because we pivoted really early in the company. So we've been actually doing a lot of the protective garments and PPEs and masks. We think we need to sort of like move forward. So I'm I'm a very positive human being. I try not to sort of like be sad about the situation, but it's actually quite challenging and sad, primarily because there's so much talent and so much wasted energy, and we can't seem to sort of like go forward because of the situation. However, I just think that in the darkest moments of history, the brightest creative energies arise. For
Oh,
instance, during the Second World War, these were the greatest moments where the creatives actually came through. So, I mean, in the darkest moments, there's really about light. And I think you should use this time, all creative industries, to really reflect and to hone their craft and to make more beautiful things and not lose hope. I think us in this entertainment creative world, we must continue to provide that energy primarily because that's what a lot of people are holding on to, specifically now because it's very difficult to sort of like focus primarily because there's so much negative energies in the world. So we as creative individuals must really sort of like dig deep and create, and in these darkest moments actually happens the most beautiful things.
Actually, I was about to ask you, what do you feel about all these people who, started painting or drawing, under the lockdown and they don't know what to do with it after?
Well, go for it, save it, keep it. It will eventually be treasures as a memory of this particular time. I think for all those people who are cooking, who are painting, who are acting, who are singing, who are creating abs like Marky, that's all we need to do is to sort of like find that rhythm and find that sort of like way to express and to maybe channel all of these energies primarily because imagine we're like bottled up soda pops, soda cans, and every day something's triggering. So all of these things are just ways to release all of these beautiful energies.
Yeah. I,
Go for it.
I think it's very, very important to tap into your creative juices,
Mm-hmm.
especially during
Yeah.
this time, because it's a tough time, and if we focus on the negative, we will fall down really, really fast.
Yeah. And it's that, yeah, it's so true because a lot of people are actually already in that space. There's a lot of mental um situations that creates anxiety and negativity, and what, that's one way to deal with it. Art and therapy and creativity is one way to sort of like release all of these emotions so that we become a little bit more sane, and we're able to cope. Music therapy is amazing. I love listening to music. So you guys, in the in radio industry, everybody's hit. I think what's important really now is that to be kind and to be able to
Yeah.
really just reach out to each other, and not anymore join in this sort of like paranoia of fear. Because I think there's don't I think knowledge is important, because wag na tayo matakot, because let's not be scared. Let's be knowledgeable. I think once we sort of like realize that there's ways to go around this, we'll be able to move forward. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of information, and that's going to be for me. I call on you for people who like you, who have a megaphone to share this important knowledge. So let's not be fearful. Wag tayong matakot, because all we need to know really is to understand how to deal with the situation clearly.
There's no other way to go about it, right? I mean, you just have to deal with it. But I'm just curious, Rahul, since you mentioned creative outlets, we know fashion is obviously your main creative outlet. But like, have you discovered other creative outlets during quarantine? I don't know, like, have you
Yeah.
started writing songs or like stuff like that, or have you mga ganon?
Yeah, I mean, I'm proud to say that I started baking, I started cooking, then I started painting, then I started writing, then my because of I'm innately creative, and given that particular space of mind that I was in, I just kept on going. So I've been painting, I've been writing, I've been cooking. My partner is also a creative person. He started Ikebana, and we're coming up with a
Oh,
book.
wow.
We're coming up with the book very, very
Oh
soon.
wow.
So it's like
Ooh.
thriving in lockdown. If ever this happens again, this is what you need to do.
Oh
Oh my
my
God.
goodness.
Like a manual. Like a
Yeah,
Yeah,
manual
I
for,
know.
for, but like, okay, so, you seem to me like somebody who's very put together. But like you said, you are not, immune to anxiety. So we know that, there's a long-term plan, getting creative, uh, doing something to expend that energy. But at that very moment, when you get your panic at, how like sometimes you're just doing your thing, and then you suddenly
Yeah,
feel you can't breathe and you're panicking and you don't know why. How do you
yeah.
handle when
Oh,
anxiety hits you out of nowhere?
okay, I'll give you a tip that my good friend taught me. It's five. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Okay.
Basically, you always sort of like if I remember it right, the first thing you have to do is 5 things that you see. So you stop first, and 5 things that you see, and you indicate that. So basically, look around you, the 5 things that you see, and then after that, I think it's 5 things that you can actually hear, or 4 things that you actually hear. So 5 things you see, 4 things you hear, 3 things that you can touch,
Like
and then
anything? Like any random thing?
basically it refocuses your energy,
Oh,
your
okay, okay.
activity to other things. So for instance, that
All right.
helps me. If I'm panicking, or if I'm sort of like panicking, I refocus my energies on those little 5 technique. It's called the hand technique. Okay, because essentially you refocus your anxiety to certain things. So you focus on the 5 things that you see, 4 things that you can hear, 3 things that you can touch, 2 things that you can smell, and 1 thing that you can taste. So
Wow.
hopefully, after that particular 5 steps, you kind of calm down, because you sort of like rechannel it, rechannel your energy. So if you're panicking, you look around you first. It stills you. It sort of like
It
calms you.
grounds you.
Yeah, it
Grounds you.
grounds you.
Yeah, I
So,
love that.
Oh,
so
that's so
if
cool.
you try to do that, then basically it stops a little bit your anxiety and
Mm-mm.
makes you focus. It slows you down. So basically, try it. Kunyari na kinakabahan kayo, you look first, five things around you: the tree, the leaf, my phone, my pen. And then it eventually sort of like calms you down a bit. Now, if that doesn't happen, the most effective for me is the silent scream. Have you done that before?
I
I
have
haven't.
never.
But I've heard of
No, never.
the five things that you can see, the four things that you can hear, but the silent scream I haven't heard of before.
Okay, the silent scream is a very effective tool in calming down. You can do it anywhere, but basically it's best to do it in the banyo. You just sort of like scream without sound.
Oh.
Oh,
Oh, wow.
I
Okay,
like that.
let's all try it. Let's all try it now. One, two, three. Like that. And as you can sustain
I
it as
like.
long as you want, but you feel parang a little bit exhausted after, and that
Yeah.
again,
Yeah.
because that energy transfers and you let it out. But in a very calm way because nobody can hear you, only you. Kasi syempre if you
Mm-hmm.
start screaming, baka akala nila may nangyayari na sa'yo. But you can
You
you
know,
can also do the actual scream, but the silent
Ang
scream
sarap
is a little
ng
bit more.
feeling. Kasi parang
Yeah,
natatighten yung chest ko and then biglang mag-release. Biglang
Yeah.
correct.
magka-calm down. Oh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
no,
So those
it's
those
actually
are my little, yeah. The silent
it's very
scream is a very effective tool for me to relax. Another thing that I do really is, and this is silly, and my partner's gonna die if he hears this. I go on YouTube. I watch the voice auditions.
Ah,
Which ones? US or UK or any?
Penny, I usually follow the top 10 emotional voice auditions, and I watch it and I cry and I feel better after.
Hmm.
So
oh,
Whenever they sing Rise Up, whenever they sing Rise Up for me, it's just so emotional.
So, I mean, I guess those are the things that I can share with you guys. Find something that you like watching on, let's say, YouTube that's short but yet funny and triggers you to a good place. So for me, it's the voice auditions or America's Got Talent or UK's Got Talent. Basta the audition lang. I don't know why I focus on that, and I get really emotional and I'm happy na after.
yeah. Well,
A lot of
perfect.
people are commenting, saying they're learning so much from this
Yeah.
conversation. They're
They're
picking up
asking you to do a
tips.
TED Talk.
But you know what? Speaking of tips,
Actually, I
I'm sure a
do.
lot of people
You
want
can, I
fashion
did a
tips
TED
as well.
talk. You can Google it. The Saret. I did a TED talk. It wasn't that
Oh.
good, so I have to do it again. I was
We
nervous,
have
so
to
it
do it again.
wasn't
Go
that
on.
good. But you can Google it.
This
I
is
did it for
basically a
Ateneo.
TED Talk.
It is? I don't know.
Yeah. Well, I mean, well, you're imparting information and everything
Thank
you've
you.
learned throughout your life. Well, now, and everyone is following, and everyone is really impressed. So
Yeah, but you know what? Can we ask for obviously some fashion tips? I'm sure a lot of our listeners are also wanting some of those. But I just want to ask, if you're curious, what do you consider pambahay chic?
Ah,
Since you're all at home, you know.
that's
Yeah.
very
Pambahay.
yeah.
For the Rahul Laurel.
No, no. For me, I mean, obviously, we're always at home, and we're always sort of like. But I think it's very important to create a sense of order. Siyempre, like tayo, me, I can never let go of my favorite butas-butas na pantulog shirt, right?
Yeah.
We have
Same.
one as
Diba?
well.
We have a favorite shirt that we can't let go of. But at the same time, if you wear it the whole day, you don't have a sense of order. So I think what's very important, even if you're at home, you create a sense of order. This is what I'm going to be wearing to go to bed. This is what I'm going to be wearing when I'm in the living room. This is what I'm going to wear when I'm on a Zoom meeting. So you still create a sense of like order for yourself because life should continue, and you have to sort of like still feel beautiful, feel handsome, and you don't want to feel like you're wearing a butas-butas shirt the whole day. And there are ways to sort of like make yourself feel good. Because remember, guys, when was the last time you wore something amazing and all of a sudden your shoulders are straight and you become more confident? I mean, fashion
Yeah.
is a very important tool because this is like our modern day armor. And gives you that particular edge if you feel good, if you feel guapo, if you feel maganda. And for me, that's why I do this every day, because there's that particular sense of empowerment that you share to someone, especially if you sort of like make a difference in how they look at themselves. And for me, that's very important.
So true.
I have a question because like now, usually if we were going to invite you, we would ask you to go to the station, and we'll have you here. You'll be our guest, and we'll be doing things live. But as you can see, we're now doing things on online, and we're all facing our laptops. So when it comes to fashion, have you been toying around with maybe how you can do an online fashion show, or how to present your collection online? Are you trying to experiment with
Yeah,
certain?
I'm glad you asked that, because we were the first actually in the Philippines to have a online fashion show. We did it in the height of lockdown on my birthday on May 19.
Oh,
So we did it with my friend, and we did it. Yeah, we did it. Can you imagine? It was
Oh,
hilarious,
wow.
primarily because we didn't have Wi-Fi, and we did that. So essentially, we did our first virtual fashion show presenting the Hacienda collection. It was a really great learning experience, and it's still online. You can Google it. It's called Rajo Runway Online. We did it in
So
May. We're
how
doing it.
did that work? How did
Oh my
that work?
goodness.
Did you have to send the clothes to the models? Did they have to do it themselves, or they have to walk down a virtual runway? Or
Okay. So it began with my best friend Robbie Carmona, who owns Saga Events, calling me at 5:30 in the morning, said, I want to do a fashion show. And I said, okay, let's do it. And technically it was like learning to fly without the manual.
yeah.
I was stuck in Nasugbu with I didn't even have LTE. I had my phone. And I remember just communicating with everybody. But it was wonderful because primarily it really taught us a lot of difficult, challenging lessons. But yes, Marky, if you can imagine how to do a show when everybody's away from each other, we were able to do it. We sent the clothes to the models with video instructions on how to style the clothes. My sister taught the models by video how to do the makeup. My friend Jing Monis created the video to do the hair. We sent the models
Wow.
lights. It was
Oh, wow.
it was great. So if your listeners can Google the fashion show, we did it last May 19, and we're doing another one very very soon. But it was the first, so it was a very interesting experience. But at the same time, it was an experiment in like, if you actually put your mind and heart and soul together, it can happen, it can be done. It was fantastic, primarily because it was the very first time we did the show online, and it was so inclusive. Primarily we were able to, if I'm not mistaken, in there were like 12,000 viewers.
Wow.
Oh,
wow,
that's amazing.
So basically, a lot of people were like, in the beginning, syempre, it was the people in our industry. Hi, haven't seen each other. So it became that. And then it exploded into a lot of the Filipinos saying, hey, this is the very first time we're seeing this. So it was great, primarily because it opens up your art and your expression to a greater stage. Like, I'm sure Marky, when he does his theater, it's just, let's say, 200 people. And then we do it online, it's all of a sudden all of these people who can watch his theater work.
much
So
more.
it's a
Yeah,
it's an
which is
interesting.
exactly what they did with El Bimbo, right? When they opened it up online,
Yeah,
suddenly they have fans from everywhere. It's a great platform
yeah,
that is underutilized by a lot of us, and now
exactly.
we're starting to learn how to use it more efficiently.
Actually,
So
like since we've discovered like some of the biggest shows, have had to do last minute adjustments. Survivor had an online finale. RuPaul's Drag Race had an online finale, and we were
That
all
is
trying to, and like they say, diba, necessity is the mother of invention. And when you don't have a choice, you are forced to be creative. And like you were saying, Rahul, like, you sometimes we surprise ourselves with what we can come up with given the situation.
yeah, and you end up learning to trust the process, and you end up realizing that there is a way to do things, and there is an opportunity that we haven't tapped. So I think I always believe this. I mean, again, it's really about making do of certain situations. However, we need to sort of like really work together. I think the key ingredient there is that we need to work together and not be selfish and really share this information to everyone so that we all benefit from it. So that's the good that came out of that.
Yeah.
And what do you say about, okay, so let's just sort of like move a little bit to the other side of the COVID situation. What's your take naman on how sometimes there's this tendency to be toxic online?
Oh yeah,
Everyone tends to get like overly toxic. Before, parang it
Yeah.
was 50-50. Nowadays, when you go on Twitter, it's almost like a
yeah,
70-30 kind of thing where 70% it's either
Mm-mm.
somebody's fighting, somebody's canceling, somebody's toxic.
yeah.
What's your take on all of this? And do you participate in online activities in terms of social media?
No, when it gets toxic, I disengage. I'd rather sort of like if I'm upset about a certain situation, it involves uh, another human being. I just call that you that go. I go straight to that person and hash it out.
Mm-hmm.
It's useless adding to the noise that's out there. Honestly, it's just a waste of your energy and time. Don't engage primarily because it's just a virtual black hole of just bad energy and bad juju. What for? Hindi naman wala naman mangyayari eh. If you engage, kung kapag-away ka online, hindi mo nga kilala kung sino yung kausap mo. You
Go
know,
ano
it,
naman,
Better kung
or walking.
personal, no? Or face to face.
yeah, it's better. Well, usually if I feel bad, and if I need to really address it, my tip is to write it down.
Yeah.
Basically, I write it down. It helps me process it rather than attacking the problem right away. It gives me time to really just calm down. And if, like for instance, if I'm not feeling too, if I'm mad at my, let's say, my partner, instead of saying la 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 la, I go to a different part of the house. I write it down. Why am I upset? I'm mad at you because you said this and you shouldn't have said that. And then all of a sudden, I read it and I said, oh my God, ang tanga-tanga naman ng mga I feel so stupid because when I reread it, parang it's so little, it's so parang ang liit-liit na bagay lang, and then it becomes a little bit easier to confront it. But in online toxicity, don't engage. I think, I mean, if you feel the need to engage, talk to somebody real, talk to a friend, talk to someone who
Yeah.
can actually mirror what you're saying rather than some person hiding behind a name or whatever,
Yeah.
an avatar.
Yeah. So for you, ba, like whenever you feel something, let's say you're frustrated or you're a little bit anxious, does it show in your work or like medyo nagre-reflect ba siya in your work or your art or something?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, of course it does. If everything is a direct reaction towards your emotions and your feelings, so even when you're happy, it shows that you're happy. If you're sad, it shows that you're sad. I mean, that's why art is so important because it's a mirror. It's a mirror of what's actually happening to our society. It's what's happening to what people are seeing now, and you'll see if you actually find the time to follow certain art. Well, my favorite is that hashtag ArtPH. So it's basically
Ooh.
what's happening around the art scene in the Philippines. You will see it's a mirror of what's
Okay,
happening.
so what
A
about
lot.
I know it's a little bit predictable, but your last collection was called the Hacienda collection.
Yeah.
Uh, is there something that maybe like a quarantine chic? I mean, not necessarily PPE, like mga like inspired by the situation. Uh,
Absolutely.
a fashion collection that you were toying around with.
We're working on it now. It's going to be launched in a couple of weeks, so it's perfect timing.
Mm.
Uh, essentially it's in the mindset of reset. It's
Right.
essentially when I say reset, it's also understanding our value chains and understanding how what we did wrong in the past. I mean, I was part of this culture of excess, of really an imaginary rat race of creating things, thinking because people actually want it and need it. And essentially, what happens is it became a cycle of excess that became unhealthy. So this whole reaction on this pandemic really gave us the opportunity to sit down, take a pause, figure things out, and do something that's more meaningful. Meaningful for everybody involved, for my employees, for myself, because I work with my family, for my family, and for my clients, and also for the environment. So basically, it's use this opportunity because, guys, this may not ever happen again. I mean, not in anybody's lifetime. This is our greatest moment to actually do use to our advantage and to shine. I mean, especially in our country, which is sort of like, you know, highly chaotic and combustible. But we can use this really as sources of inspiration to do good and to become better human beings.
I want to rewatch this Facebook Live later today
But
just to
I
remind
learned
myself.
so
You know
much.
what?
I
Note to
know.
self, Rika.
I'm getting a lot
Remember,
of
What you need to
information.
do
Bravo. Thank you so
I've
much.
learned, I've learned so much. Like literally, I keep telling these guys that I have the worst anxiety, and there are so
Yeah,
many tips imparted with us today that I'm like, hey, maybe I should do that, or I learned it before, and I tell myself, hey, maybe I should rethink trying that out again because maybe it will work in this stage of my life. So I've learned a lot of things from this interview. I'd like to come back and rewatch it as well, Rika.
Gusto ko yung mga
Right?
comments nila, ang bougie ng TMR, hindi kayo slap soil.
ano yan? Ano yan?
Ang
Ano yan?
bougie daw ng morning rush. We're very bougie today because we have you. So, very saucy and high fashion. Hindi daw slap soil. Translation, hampas
Ahang lupa. Oh my God.
Naku, pero if you think about it, if you
Guys.
think about it, Raho, technically, you are a hampas lupa because you have soil. Literally.
Soil everywhere.
I'm proud to be Hampas Lupa. Slap soil, baby. Slap soil. Oh my God, I like to have slap soil.
Feeling ko Devil Wears Prada vibe tayo this
Yeah.
morning. For some
Oo nga.
reason, I'm loving it.
Nakakatawa si Hayden. Rushers today are all
Angels.
Why?
Yeah, no.
Are you guys naughty?
I'm super
we're
curious.
normally a naughty show.
Yeah.
Yeah, and usually they're very thirsty for Marky.
No,
Usually
no.
it's all about, thirst and stuff like that. But I'm so curious lang to
Like
ask.
a drag show.
Yeah, fashion wise, I mean, is there was there ever a trend na parang you felt forced to, I don't know, to like, but you really didn't like it, or in hindsight, parang I really
No.
didn't like that so much.
Yeah. Oh my God. You know, my high school friend just sent me pictures. I think everybody's cleaning their rooms and they unearthed this
Yeah.
sort of like, I texted them, pwede niyo magsunugin na yan? Because I had this sort of like Miami Vice stage in my youth. And everything I owned was pastel. I don't know if you remember, you guys might be too young, but Miami Vice was the show, and it sort of like changed how people dressed up because everybody was wearing pink and lavender with white linen suits and espadrilles, and they showed me pictures of it, and I was in my Miami Vice state, and I was like, oh my God, that's so embarrassing.
Would you ever release those photos online?
No, but if they do, I don't mind. I mean,
That,
that's
right? I
it's
mean,
the past.
yeah.
Are
Pastels,
so
huh?
important because if you don't do mistakes, you won't learn. So I think all of these things, I mean, regardless of what I feel about it now, I'm glad I did it because now I know I'll never look good in lavender.
Oh,
I love it.
have you ever considered like parang, di ba, everyone's talking about a second skill. Like if you're a broadcaster, you find out you're also a good baker. If you're a ganito, you find out you can.
Yeah. Ang tawag dyan, dapat may backup plan ka.
Yeah. Plan B.
Matagal na backup plan ko. Ang backup plan ko, bata pa lang ako, DI, dance instructors.
That's
Oh my
Oh.
No, pero kasi
Yes,
what
wow, with that.
My mother used to have a dance instructor, and I said, "Mom, how much do you pay your DIs?" And she goes, "Mom, just give me the money. I'll be your DI."
Ako na. Tapos, di ba may flair sila lagi na parang to
Yeah,
invite you
so
on the dance floor?
yeah,
Yeah.
my backup plan has always been and will always be a DI. They
Oh
don't
my
pay
goodness.
taxes, man.
No, pero I
Up
think
to
you have,
now,
ano,
up
I
to
think
now,
you
may
have,
DI pa kami for the family. Like, we invite the DI for parties. And then sila yung mag invite ng mga tao sa dance floor. And I'm like, it takes a certain skill to do that. I love it.
Yeah, when I was young, it was such a great job because our
Yeah.
family, we kind of sing and perform. So basically, the DI was such a fun job because they're the life of the parties. I always
Yeah.
wanted. But I always believe that sa mga panahon ngayon, guys, kailangan talaga meron kang second skill, third skill, fourth skill. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you need to be everything because you need to what you call hustle. Otherwise, I mean, you won't survive. So you
no,
must.
pero
To
I
be
think,
honest,
ano nga eh. I was going to suggest, kasi I would want to um, hire your services if you're open to being a life coach. Kasi
Yes.
Oh,
when I feel
I
lost,
never thought of that. But
somebody
yeah,
like Raho.
just message me na lang, and I can actually lead you to more professional life coaches. I just come from a place wherein maybe I've been thinking too much and that, but I think there are better life coaches out there. I mean, I'd rather stick to what I know, making clothes and maybe planting plants.
Planting. Slapping the soil.
But thank you for considering me. But I know life coaching is very, 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 very difficult. I mean, it sounds very easy and hokey pokey, but you have to realize it's almost like being a parent,
Yeah,
primarily
true.
because the responsibility to another human being is so involved and so strong. And if you're just doing it for the sake of you have to have really good and clear intentions if you're going to be a life coach. You can't
So,
jump into this because there's certain
Yeah.
repercussions about it.
so
Actually, it's really nice nga ngayon that parang nawala na yung stigma when it comes to having a life coach or a psychiatrist or psychologist that you
yes.
actually go to, diba? And people are being open about it.
Diba, everyone is. I saw a tea over coffee post where someone was talking about Madison Beer. She came out
Oh,
and
here.
spoke out about her borderline personality disorder.
Personality.
It's,
Yeah.
Yeah.
it's great to see people just talking openly about their mental disorders and what's going uh, in their lives, what's going on in their lives, which is great because before they just called them crazy, or they'd call
Mm.
them, bad behavior. But nowadays, you put a there's a science that goes behind it, and you understand that these people are maybe feeling a certain way because of their disorder.
Correct.
that's true. And you know what? Because you know, unfortunately, we're only until 10. So, in as much as we would love to keep Raho with us, um, we're going to have to ask for a part two for this. I think
Yes!
we all need.
But before we go, can I just ask one more thing? And I want to make this a thing because we are the morning rush. Are you a coffee or tea person in the morning, and how do you take your coffee?
Oh God, I coffee. Oh, absolutely coffee. I take it black. And,
Ooh.
first, I take it black, and then I have 2 to 3 cups before I start going, and then I put stevia on my second cup, and my third cup I put milk. But that lasts.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
So I have 3 cups
Oh,
before.
You're so
you
lucky
said
because you're
that.
in the land of Barako. You're in the land of
Exactly.
Kafeng Barako.
Yeah,
Oh,
Kaya I was saying, you go back, di ba? Once you go black daw, you don't go back. Pero ikaw, you go black muna in the morning. Tapos
And
later,
then
go
it's me
white
and then
or mulatto in the afternoon. Perfect.
Yeah, I mean, I'm the type of human being naman that doesn't, I like all shades.
no.
I enjoy.
yes, you should be like that.
And now you
And,
get
Right?
thirsty again.
and ano naman, so I guess after everything we've heard from Raho, my last question naman is this. How do we join the House of Laurel? I want to be part of this house.
I'll be the voter.
First, First, you follow us on Instagram at House of Laurel.
Oh,
And then,
done and done.
and then when the kids say DM is the key.
It is.
It is.
DM is the key. That's what my nieces and
I want
nephews
to be
tell me.
part of the House of Laurel. Si Marky is part of the House of DM.
DM.
Oh, direct messaging.
The House
Yeah,
of DM.
everybody. Oh gosh.
That's a different house altogether. Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me get on that choo-choo
Instagram,
train.
Instagram is the new Tinder or
Mhm.
whatever app you
Is
use.
it? Is it? Okay, I didn't know that.
Well, in Marky's case.
Yes, Marky say.
I thought naman it was sort of like TikTok.
Yeah, well, the thing about Instagram is, you can't hide behind anyone else's face.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Correct.
your face, and they'll send you a DM, and you can easily say, "Oh, that was just
Hello.
my management answering you back."
Oh, yeah, okay, I get it.
You see, there are ways around things, but like,
Okay. I think that maybe is for part 2. How to use Instagram to your absolute potential.
exactly.
Please, we really hope we can
Part
help you.
2. Part 2. Part 2.
Part two.
Guys, I know it's your anniversary, right? Happy anniversary.
Yes.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Me. Hasta
Thank you for joining us. I really wanted to have you share your beautiful knowledge, especially to all of us now in this time of crisis.
Yeah.
We need that that ray of sunshine in the darkness. So thank you so
Thank
much.
you so much.
Have a
Actually,
beautiful-
it's so fitting that I think Raho, you planted a lot of seeds today. I mean, I know you get to plant in the actual soil, but yeah, to be perfectly honest, you planted a lot of seeds, in our minds, in our listeners' lives. So thank you very much for
Thank
that.
you so much.
And hopefully we can have you back on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, roll around!
Have a great day, guys.
You too.
Be safe. All right, so
Bye.
we'll stay on Facebook Live
Yes.
because we're going to be wrapping up the show
Okay.
in just a few, but we're going to pause for just a very, very short break. And then, yeah, we're going to say goodbye. Just hang in there.
I can leave now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what we do. Thank you,
Have a
Ryan.
great day.
Take
And see you
care.
very soon. Nice to see you again. Yeah. Okay.
Wow. That was so cool.
Inspiring conversation.
I know.
Yeah.
To see the House of Laurel, actually. Sa background.
We're in the house of Laurel.
Oh my goodness. I never would have thought, this could happen.
But
That,
like,
we would actually talk to RAJO Laurel.
yeah,
I'm speechless.
it's the house of Laurel meets the house of Garcia.
I have 1,000 questions, but I could not ask every
Yeah.
single one. It was just wow. Oh my goodness. As in,
Definitely.
never in my life I would have thought that, we could actually talk to RAJO Laurel. And oh my
Congratulations,
goodness.
guys. Hindi kayo nagkalat today.
Seriously,
Well, there's a chance.
kahit slap soil kami, ha?
O hindi kami slap soils. The
Uh,
house of Garcia.
back to normal na daw tayo.
Sabi ni Hazel, she's gonna be the Voger.
Oh my goodness. No, we are the House of Femsters.
House of Femsters pala. House of Femsters. Andyan. Oo nga, House of
Thank you
Femsters.
guys for watching the interview, but I think we're gonna wrap up with one more batch or no more, or maybe just say
I think-
bye.
No, I think we're gonna do a batch. I think may
Yeah.
chance.
So don't
Pwede
go
ba?
anywhere. Thank you for watching, and thank you for always commenting down. Yes, definitely. We're gonna ask for a part 2. Also, we're actually talking to someone right now. We're thinking of getting another special person.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for that.
I don't
I-
reveal anything because
TBH, I have to research pa kasi wala akong masyadong alam.
oh my
about
goodness, you will love this person.
I don't know. I haven't ventured into the,
The TikTok world.
the TikTok world. There you go. I didn't
Can
want
I
to
just say? Can I just say? So diba I was making kwento earlier about JC. We were recording a podcast yesterday, and
Okay.
then suddenly we just broke into a song. As in, bigla na lang kami nag-karaoke with our mics, and like we recorded songs and we were just singing. It's like, oh my
Nice.
god, Marky will be so proud of me. I'm practicing.
Oh, I want to hear. Send it to me. I want to, I know.
Monster RX93.1 and the top.
Top entry na agad.
And the top.
Wala na kasing
One final quick batch.
Butch.
No. I wanted to say quick.
Butch.
Hindi. No, one final quick batch before we wrap up.
Yes. Okay.
And the pot.
If I were you, let's see. Hayden says, I will practice RIP. Rest if possible.
Nakakatakot naman.
Don't
Oo nga
overwork
eh.
yourself.
Really don't overwork yourself, especially now. I'm telling you.
Kahit work from home yan, ha? You can
Mm.
overwork yourself.
Yeah, true.
Mr. Yuzo naman was saying, if I were you, I would stop trash talking about our boss because FYI, I'm his spy.
Oh, can you imagine?
Oh my gosh.
Oh.
Oh. Star Marjorie says, if I were you, I wouldn't invalidate somebody else's feelings just because you don't understand it. Just
Mm.
because you don't feel
Done.
what I feel, it doesn't mean you can just invalidate it.
They should make that the word of the year. Invalidate.
Invalidate.
It's
Ano ba
literally
yan?
the word of the year.
Kulay
For all-
turmeric na naman ako.
Oo nga.
Alam mo, parang gusto ko ng chicken curry looking at you.
Why?
So orange.
Thai curry.
Ay, pero tingnan mo, if I go like this, normal yung color ko. Tingnan mo. Tapos I turn yellow. It's so weird. Okay. From Wattpad Rider 84, before I share an article, if I were you, before I share an article, I would read the whole thing first, not just the title.
And there are articles out there, and I don't know how they do it, but it's a different title when it's just posted as a link, and then
Yeah.
when you click on it, it's a totally different,
Different
article.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's a clickbait thing. And from Hey Tina, if I were you, I would stop patronizing bloggers who use their intimate relationship issues for the sake of views.
Oh. Yung mga
Girl.
parang supposed to break up and then they're gonna
Yeah.
like have
Yes.
a whole, I don't know, dramatic, parang
Para may content.
parang
They
may
use-
press release
may-
ganon.
They
Oo.
use their personal issues for content. The Batfly says, if I were you, aamin ako sa crush ko. You miss 100% of the shots you didn't take.
I agree. Kaya wag nang itago.
Hindi na.
I-DM mo na.
Wag na, hindi na. Hindi na
So
kailangan.
kung ganon, sino yung i-DM nyo na now na? Sinong crush?
Wala nga crush.
Ako ano, i-DM mo.
Galit. Bakit galit na galit? Nagtatanong
Para
lang.
kay Chico.
Hoy! Grabe kayo. Well,
I actually have a crush that I'd like to DM.
Oh, go!
Pero sabihin ko na lang sa inyo mamaya.
Oh, sige. Okay.
Oh, okay.
And the top, if I were you, comes from Krister Salvador and Camilo.
They both say,
Krister Salvador says, if I were you, I would accept that no closure is actually your closure.
oh, yeah, that's true. I agree 100%. But, you don't know that, especially when you're younger. You feel like everything needs to have like an end
Yeah.
conversation.
Like
Yung
an
parang-
official ending.
Yes.
Yeah.
But no, that's not necessary anymore.
Yeah.
As long as you've both moved on, that's done.
And
Yeah.
Camilo, if I were you, bago ko pakinggan ang sigaw ng aking pupo, ng pupo,
Ikaw yung pupo.
Bakit pininigaw yung pupo mo?
Grabe, ang violent. Naninigaw.
Alam ko na. Alam mo, yan yung silent scream na sinasabi.
Yes, I can't. Guys, like all bougie and like, alam mo yun, parang ano eh.
Ano nangyari?
Ikilis na ang dating natin kanina eh.
Napunta na naman sa
Bakit
pupo.
napupo
Hindi.
tayo?
Take
Pupo!
two. Bago ko pakinggan ang sigaw ng aking puso, makikinig muna ako sa sigaw ng nanay ko. Yun.
Yeah.
Wala nang impact yung
Wala.
entry kasi napupo siya eh.
Tinalo ng pupo.
Oo.
Okay, but thank you guys for joining us. Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much.
Yay!
Okay, if I were you, ano ba? If I were you, go mauna kayo.
If I were you, I wouldn't stress so much because I know obviously it's easy to do that and you feel it's justified because of what's happening, but what good will that do? It's out of your control. So just focus on the things you can control na 'di ba? Yun na lang. And for me, just treat yourself and make sure you get the things that you want. Alam mo yun? Because who knows how long we're gonna be here. You might as well enjoy the, diba? Enjoy everything that
True.
you can while you're here.
Yeah. If I were you, and you're an actor, you don't have a script for whatever it is you're shooting for. Just use your creativity, because you don't know what you can create from just you and your co-actors. That's what I learned yesterday. For the first time, I shot a series without a script.
Oh,
And we just created everything. We didn't know how it was going to end. We didn't know how it was going to start, but it just flowed from beginning to end. It had a completely different ending from how we anticipated it from the beginning. So it was fun. It was interesting. It's like choose your own ending, choose your own adventure.
I don't know. If I were you, and during times like this, if you don't have, if it's within your budget, get an animal.
An animal?
An animal. Remember what Ria was saying? Na parang, her animal saved her through this whole difficulty. I would have to agree. I mean, if you're a pet person, of course. I mean, if you're ready for the responsibility, because it's not easy. But I really am an advocate of, sharing your life with animals, companion animals, whether it's a cat or a dog or whatever it is. If there are plantitos, plantitas, there are hayopitos and hayopitas. I don't know. But
Hayupita.
I don't know. But to me, what my happiest shining moments during this pandemic is when I share them with my animals. It's just such a pure energy.
Yeah.
And I really feel so much joy when I'm with them.
I'm not a pet person really, but ako kasi gusto ko ako yung animal eh.
Rawr, rawr.
Rar, rar.
Well,
Rika.
Ako if I were you, be nice to the server, be nice to the cashier, be nice to the people who serve you, especially at this time because, everybody's just working hard and you have the luxury to actually just stay home. And whenever you want to go outside to actually eat out or go to the supermarket, they're working and you're not. So you better be nice to them. Because I've seen it multiple times now because, they have like these rules in place in supermarkets. And whenever they refuse somebody to go in because they're not wearing a face shield or a face mask, and then they get mad, I'm like, sir, Miss Ma'am, you need to just go back to wherever you came from, to go back to your house and put on your face mask. And then you can come in. Because it's not their fault that they're just doing their job.
They're just
Diba?
doing their
And
job.
yeah. Diba?
All right. So there you go. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you.
Thank you to Raul for joining us. That was
Thank you!
Yeah.
Si Chico, ready na siya. Ready ka na
Ready to go.
for battle.
Bye for now. We'll talk to you tomorrow.
Bye.
bye guys.
next
See
with Rico
you.
and Carl.